Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to The Winning Drive. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by esteemed colleague and my good friend here to my right, my man Jeff Howe, and our own coach, former high school football coach at Bernie, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan, also played college football at Abilene Christian, coach there as well, and was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. And now you can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own coach, Bob Shipley. What's going on, coach?
Man, I want to hear the word. You guys been out there sweating, doing work, boots on the ground. I'm sitting there air conditioned. What's up, man? How'd it go?
I forgot my salt tablets, coach.
Look at what Jeff's wearing. First of all, y'all, look at what Jeff's wearing out here.
It's moisture wicking, though. I'm cooling off right now. It feels good.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's the old saying. Could you guys pass the Tom Herman P test? You guys get hydrated before you went out there today?
I did. I actually was hydrated. Yes, I know I'm very sweaty, JD. I know I'm very. Listen, I couldn't.
That's good. And you got to be worried when you're not sweating. That's the problem.
That's a good point. But yeah, first of all, I'm a sweater. I'm like, I know people say, usually, like, you're a sweater. That means like you big or something like that. No, little guys like me, we sweat too. It ain't just the linemen, DBs. Once I start sweating, I cannot stop. But I was out there with Michael Huff, coach, and you can see this. When Huff's out there, he wears a hoodie, and it ain't a moisture hoodie like this dude. It's like an actual hoodie, like the kind you jog in up north. Yes, and this dude is not sweating, coach. He is not sweating at all. Like, he don't have a bead of moisture on him at all. So I just think he's just too cool to sweat. That's just Huff Daddy.
That's probably right. hey, man. So we were talking about Coach Aquina. He's a little bit taller than you are.
Man, people forget Coach Aquina is like, what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah.
So Coach Aquina's pretty damn tall. Because Huff Daddy's tall. That's me right there. I'm 5'9" on my best day. Huff Daddy towers over me. Huff Daddy's about 6 feet. But man, Coach Aquina, dude, that's why and Coach Aquina's not throwing as much. Have you noticed that? I haven't seen him throwing.
I know.
I meant to ask him now. I was like, Coach, what's going on with the arm, man? No, I haven't seen him throw yet, Coach. I was out there all day at practice yesterday. He did not throw one time. So I think
that arm's got some miles on the odometer.
I think he's giving up. He's giving up doing them drills, let the young bucks handle that. But all right, so whatever you guys want to talk about, of course, throw your questions out there. We'll try to answer as many of them as we can about what we saw during the media window for practice. We'll also get into Jeff's and our thoughts about the last 2 days. We got a chance to see the practice. I want to ask Coach about a few things, about some of the biggest storylines coming out about these last 2 days out of the start of training camp for the Longhorns. So we'll dive into all that. Jeff, let's start, though, with you today. First impressions about what you saw.
I think a couple guys weren't there, and we don't know why they weren't there, so we'll get clarification through at some point. And Coach Shipley knows how this goes. Some guys, it could be class, it could be a number of things. No DJ Campbell, no Ryan Wingo. Jonah Williams and Cade Phillips still held out. Levon Johnson continues to be limited. I think Ricky Stewart and Ty Anthony Smith kind of were in and out today. I think it looked like both might have had a little, little cramp, dehydration, what have you.
That's
issue.
Yeah.
But overall, I love the fact that on defense, when they do circuits or Indy or whatever it is, I love the fact that they're doing a lot of ball security drills, or picking the ball up, like scoop and score drills, getting an interception and returning it, blocking on interception return, just driving home that point that, hey, just because, and I heard Mark Orfe talk about this down at the THSCA convention during his lecture. Look, just because you intercept a pass, that's not good enough. We want to score off our turnovers. Championship defenses score off of their turnovers. So I like the fact that they're really emphasizing that, honing in on it. I know turnovers come in bunches, but they're coaching it too.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you something. Do you change up the way you do training camp year to year based on circumstances? How old the team is, how experienced the team is, returning starters. Maybe could have had a lot of injuries at that position the year prior. How individual? I mean, how specific do you get in terms of how each training camp differs from the previous one, or is it pretty much the same template year to year for you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same template. Obviously, there's tweaks, from year to year, depending on certain things. And, there's times when you needed more, the DBs and receivers needed more one-on-one time or 7-on-7 stuff. So they would go in the bubble where it's air conditioned and get extra work in, maybe that they didn't need maybe the year before, because that was a more veteran squad, you know. So I think things change from time to time. The same thing with the big guys. You know, big guys get hot. I mean, that's go in there in the bubble and get some indoor air conditioning work in, and you're not worried about thinking about how hot it is. But I think it varies from year to year a little bit. But I think you pretty much go, by what you have planned. I wouldn't see them varying much as you get into training camp. Maybe if there's some injuries or some heat issues, you know, you might switch up a few things. But I think they, to a large extent, on a day-to-day basis, but trying to keep the same template going there.
All right. I got a chance to watch some of the receivers today. I was watching a lot of defense yesterday. I went to go check out the receivers. And I got to tell you, Parker Livingstone got a lot of love from Sark about his route running. I'd expect his routes to be as polished. For a long guy, gets in and out of his breaks really well. I'm starting to feel like Parker Livingstone, he may end up, showcasing. I know that Kyle Flood said he's going to have a role on this team, and I wonder what that'll be. But I was really impressed with Parker Livingstone today, just a little bit that I got a chance to see of him. So that's another guy that stood out to me, didn't get a chance to watch. Another person that, Coach, I don't know if you've heard about this, but Grayson Littleton, the true freshman, yesterday got reps with the first team at nickel at the star position. So I went and watched him again today to see if it was still the same thing. All right. And it is. He was getting reps once again with the ones. Coach, let me ask you, what does it take for a true freshman to even just be competing for a number one spot, even getting those reps this early in training camp as a true freshman?
Well, let me tell you what, on this football team, it's almost unheard of. I was listening to Jerry and Bobby and guys this morning talking about how, Bobby in 35 years or whatever doing this, never seen a roster 1 to 85 this stacked with so much talent on this team. And you got to tell me there's a freshman that's going to come in from day one and run with the first team. That says a lot for that young man, considering the talent that we have on this football team.
Yep. Coach,
I wasn't expecting that. Were you expecting that at all?
No, honestly, we talked about freshmen that contribute, but I would say he's not the one that the DBs that I thought would contribute early. We were talking about a young Cade Phillips and, hey, maybe Jonah Williams when he gets completely healthy, transitioning from baseball, he can help the team out in some sub packages, or maybe as a punt returner. And Grayson Lewis's name kept coming up, just a little bit like, hey, this young kid's really impressive, and you guys are really going to like him. And then you see that he's getting first team reps. Let me ask you this, Coach, considering Ohio State's your first game, the best receiving room in college football. Hell, they may have the best overall receiving room and receiving culture in modern college football history. Like them and like LSU and some of those teams in terms of producing great NFL wideouts. What would it take? How much trust would that young man have to earn as a true freshman to get a start or to get playing time, significant playing time versus Ohio State? Would you be a little bit anxious about that? Or would you be reluctant to do that as a coach, considering true freshman and the opponent you're facing week one? Well,
yeah, I would be reluctant, but obviously he has the respect of the coaches, and he's got some experienced veterans around him. And as a DB yourself, the communication is a key. When you've got another safety back there who's a returning All-American, who is, as they say, a coach on the field, it's a little bit easier, to work a nickel or somebody in there in a situation like that. But yeah, it's not like, Mac wouldn't do that. You would have to earn, you would have to earn your stripes without a doubt. There's no way a freshman gonna come in first day and run with the ones. So obviously he had some great summer practices and workouts, and a lot of people have been talking him up apparently on the team. For the coaches to do that, you just don't do that. That's especially, like I said, with a team that has as much talent as this team does. It's just unheard of. I'm very excited to hear that.
I'll stick with the freshmen real quick because I watched more O-line, running backs, offense yesterday. I was with the defense more today, and I watched some D-line yesterday, so it was more like linebackers, edge, DBs today. Man, two kids. I don't know if they're going to play snaps, Coach, on defense, but on teams, they're too big, too fast, too athletic to not help this team. Bo Barnes and Zealous Hicks. I think both those guys, from a body type, athleticism standpoint, they'll help this team win football games. I just don't know. I just don't think it's going to be on defense. It's probably going to be on special teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, and I know y'all probably get to it, but I'm very, very curious to know what you think of the freshman receivers.
Oh, that's good. Michael Terry got a lot of love from Coach Sark yesterday.
He sure did. Yeah.
Yesterday, and I think even, watching him, I said this, the guy that we saw in spring practice, the little snippet, the guy early here in camp, night and day difference in terms of how he's improved, which I don't think that should surprise anybody because of the athleticism, but, you watch how Sark and Chris Jackson coach him, like he's going to be given every opportunity to prove that he's not a receiver. Like, hey, you're going to get plenty of opportunities. So he's taking it. He's taking the coaching. I love what they're doing with him. I think of the other freshman coach, Jamie French has jumped out just a little. He's got that little spring, that little sudden twitch to him. Saw Khalil Lockett make a nice catch today on a deep ball. But I think of those young guys. I think the improvement of Michael Terry and just that suddenness of Jamie French so far been really impressive.
Okay, another question, Rod. Excuse me. Another question that everybody wanted to hear. What are your thoughts on the backup quarterback situation?
Oh man, honestly, right now I think I'll tell you what looks really impressive is KJ Lacey. I'm not saying KJ Lacey is gonna be your backup quarterback. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying he pops, and early on it's easy to tell that he could, by season's end up kind of overtaking some guys. Like he looks that impressive early on. But right now I think Matthew Caldwell probably is going to be it looks like he's got the inside track to be the backup quarterback, in my opinion. I'm a big Trey Owens fan. I think Trey Owens is awesome. I think he's got a great skill set overall, but I really think Sark wants someone who's got poise in that situation, someone with some experience in that situation. And if worst case scenario happens, I have no wood to knock on, but worst case scenario happens, I think they want somebody who at least has had some real game time experience. And I think that's something that's holding probably Trey Owens back from winning that job. But also, Matthew Caldwell looked poised. He looked like, considering he's in a new offense and new system with new players around him, looked pretty good. But KJ Lacey's the guy that I thought among the backups behind Arch that really stood out to me. Got me kind of excited to watch him develop, because I think he could have a really accelerated rate of development once he really learns the system and gets comfortable with the weapons around him. Just a natural passer.
Okay, one more question from me, and I'll turn it back over to you guys. I know it's only the second practice. Did you see Anthony Hill lining up in some different positions, or was he just playing linebacker?
Mostly basic install that I saw. I mean, they were in some base personnel a lot. You know what I mean? So as I know, they were doing kind of basic install yesterday. And I think, they right now they just had him at linebacker. And I can see Trey Moore is a guy that I saw at linebacker, and then having him outside on the edge too. So they are using Trey Moore in a lot of different ways. That was easy to see with the first team, with the second team in different roles. But for the most part, Anthony Hill was just playing the off-ball linebacker spot from what I saw.
It seems like, too, they're still doing the deal where, just like yesterday, Lance Jackson and Justice Terry, first half of practice, they're with the edge group. And then right about the time we got kicked out is when they were going to work with the interior D-line. So we haven't gotten to see those guys work with Kenny Baker, but I like the fact that they're letting those guys work both spots just to see at some point where they fit in. And, it could be one of those deals, Rod, where, situationally it could be either or. Maybe it's the edge for one guy. Maybe it's interior for other, edge for both, interior for both. Just let them figure it out, because they're both going to be able to help you. They look like they're going to be able to help this team.
It's possible. Yeah, I think, and I even heard Alan Clark talk about this, at least with Justice Terry, he was talking about that bumping him inside on passing downs, which makes me think NASCAR. I couldn't be wrong about that, but that makes me think NASCAR package for him, and that would be interesting too. But Lance Jackson's guy, he's slimmed down. He looks like he's slimmer.
Yeah.
Leaner is the best word. Leaner than he was when we saw him in offseason, but he is huge. But he doesn't move like that. You don't see guys with that kind of frame move as fluid as he moves, man. That is just crazy. I'm with Bobby on this point. I mean, honestly, the most impressive thing watching these guys, it might be the freshmen. It's just the size of them, their frames and their bodies overall. They're not built like freshmen. But also we just talked about Grayson Littleton, guys like, Taylor McCutcheon's a guy whose name has come up in terms of just the maturity in their game.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider too. And there are some guys we haven't even really seen a lot of. Didn't see Jonah, Williams. Didn't see Cade Phillips. Those are some of the guys with the highest upsides of this freshman class. So I just seen that stood out to me in these first 2 days is, when was the last time, you had a freshman class this talented? And like you said, Coach, you don't expect these guys to contribute right away because your roster is pretty stacked with talent. But man, these guys, I think, they're the most impressive young group of freshmen that we've seen at Texas in a long time. I'm talking about going back to that 02 class when I was still on campus and those types of classes. All right.
What about that tight end situation? You need to go to a break.
No. Let's talk about tight end because yesterday I thought Jack Andrews looked great, and he's bigger than I thought.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, he's thicker than I thought, Coach. He got a bigger frame.
And I think even today we're already seeing it should be maybe by next week, probably by that Saturday scrimmage next week, Coach. I think if by that point Jack Andrews isn't the first team tight end, he will be after that scrimmage. It's only a matter of time at this point. And I don't think that should surprise anybody, but that was the main thing. The three guys, Emmett Mosley, Murad Watson, and Jack Andrews. I just want to see if these guys pass the eye test, or can we see enough in these 2 days to back up some of the good stuff we've heard throughout the summer? And without question, the answer to that question is yes. I mean, Watson is tremendous. And Emmett Mosley got a little more run today with Ryan Wingo out, and then Jack Andrews. I think they hit home runs with all three of those guys out of the portal.
Yep. What I've heard, man, the crazy thing is I heard Jeff Banks say this, and I wasn't keeping up on Jordan Washington's recruitment that closely, so I don't remember what he was coming in. He said that he's gone from 218 to 260.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I don't know if he misspoke or something like that. No. He said 218 to 260. I thought to myself, good Lord.
Yeah, because he was probably in the 2 teens when he got.
He was that. Okay, I didn't know he was that light coming in. Man, 260 now. So, and Jeff Banks likes him as coach. He says he's a 3-down tight end. So I think Jack Andrews though looks to me like he's going to separate. I'm with Jeff on that. I think they know that too. All right, let's thank a sponsor. Then we'll answer some of your questions. I see them stacking up there. So we'll get to your question. But let's thank our friends over at Von Lane first. Let's thank our friends at Von Lane. We appreciate all of their ongoing support of On Texas football. If you're travel between and to the major cities in Texas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, trying to get to Austin, it can be a bit of a toss-up. Do you deal with the airport chaos, hope your flight isn't delayed, or do you deal with the general stress of having to drive yourself and deal with the road rage and the traffic and the hours of lost productivity? Well, the third option is the best option, folks. It's Von Lane. You arrive at a luxury hotel terminal, no TSA lines, no long-term parking lots, just a seamless boarding experience that takes minutes, not hours. You settle into a plush leather seat, one of just 22 oversized first-class seats with 140-degree recline, leg rest, and a cabin attendant serving complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, a full meal if you like. And if you need to relax, hey, it's simple. Lean back and enjoy the ride. But if you want to stay productive, there's high-speed Wi-Fi and power at every seat. Fall travel is booking fast. So right now, it's the perfect time for you to reach out and reserve your spot now for October trips to Texas versus OU in Dallas, F1 and ACL in Austin, or college football weekends in Nashville, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. Von Lane serves and connects Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Nashville, Atlanta, Memphis, and now Knoxville and the Woodlands, all right, and Plano as well. They keep adding more and more cities to the list. So visit vonlane.com, that's VONLANE.com, and use the code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. That's Von Lane, elevated regional bus transportation. Thank you very much to Von Lane for sponsoring the winning drive. All right, let's get to some questions here. RW says, Littleton was in before Mac. Yes, that I saw. He was in before Wardell Mack at that nickel position. And like I said, they did some base, so they would just go with 4 DBs out there. But like I said, I thought it was something they were just doing yesterday, and maybe they were trying to have a rotation of some sort, maybe push some certain guys. But today it was the same thing. I saw Grayson Littleton getting first team reps at the nickel.
Now, Wardell Mack did get some run, though. That we never saw him go like Pascal or 707 or anything like that. But they're just doing like some reading recognition. When they put the star in, Wardell Mack did get some run. So.
All right. Thank you for the question, RW. C. Gaddis says, who rounds out the top 5 pass rushers after Simmons, Hill, and Moore? Oh, that's a good question. Coach, who do you think is the best pass rushers after the most obvious ones? Simmons, Hill, and Moore. That's a good one.
That's a good question.
Brad Spence is obviously in that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be in that conversation. I'm a big Vosick fan.
Yeah.
It's good to see him on the field, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's great when he's healthy. I really do. I would put him in there. I'd put Brad Spence in there. It might be one of these young bucks coming up, honestly. And it could be a Justice Terry or a Lance Jackson could be in there too.
I mean, I'm not going to sell Ethan Burke short either. If we're talking about top 5 pass rushers on this team right now, I feel like I got to find a spot for him.
Yeah, he probably would. No, after the top 3, there's no doubt. Yeah. Burke should be in there. There's no question. That's a good. That is really good though. Honestly, we shouldn't be surprised. One of those guys might come from the interior. It's possible, like one of those guys, Murad Watson or Cole Brevard, just because they didn't get the sacks or the big splash plays. If you're talking about just pressures and applying pressure, sometimes it could be the guy on the inside.
I think Murad Watson and Alex January. If it's just guys in that interior D-line room right now, I think those 2 guys are your best bets.
Yeah, to be like interior guys who can wreak havoc from the inside.
Not counting Justice Terry because he's like the
that's why I think he might
factor wild card, however you want to label it.
I would honestly, he might be in that category right now. We'll see if they put him on that NASCAR package. Then we know they consider him one of their best pass rushers. That's what they're putting out there. All right, how about this? Thank you, C. Gaddis. That was a good question, C. Gaddis. Appreciate that. And I threw this stat out there yesterday. Speaking of the top 3 pass rushers, Texas is the only defense in the country that returns 3 defenders who all had at least 8 sacks and a 15% pressure rate in a single season. They're the only. I think there are a couple of more with 2, but Texas is the only one with 3 such defenders, and it is those 3 that was just brought up there. Coach, it says here MJF. Thank you, MJF, for the question. It says Coach referenced an 85-man roster. What's the current rule on the number of players reporting to fall camp? 105. Can you give us an update and its impact on how practices are run?
Yeah, I'm in 85 scholarships.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not roster, just scholarship guys.
Yeah. MJF, I hope that clarified it for you.
But this is the time where you've got your walk-ons out there. So, but again, I haven't seen this in my time covering the program, but the fact that like on the offensive line, you're 3 deep with all scholarship guys. I mean, when you go 1s, 2s, and 3s, there might be 1, maybe 2 walk-ons. Everybody else is scholarship guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Thanks.
All right, getting back to the questions. How about this is from Greg? Says, where do you see Gilbo lining up now? Gilbo's lined up at the corner most of the time.
Yeah. I
think most of the time I've seen him, he's lined up at the corner spot. Guys, I'll just say this. And I was talking to Huff Daddy about it a little bit too. I mean, honestly, guys, I think he looks a lot more comfortable and confident at corner. And honestly, Coach, I think it's psychological. I think that nickel and that star is such hell to play that that basically now it's an easier job with the sideline as obviously as a buffer there for you, and not having to defend a 2-way go of using a really quick wide receiver in that slot and having to worry about defending the run. Usually you're one of the top run supporters, right? You're in on all the rush defense. You're actually one of the main run support, run fit guys every time. So you can't be like a D, like a corner or a safety where, you know what, I'll be late. I'm pass first. You can't be pass first at nickel. There's no such thing as pass first. Everybody else is pass first. And so I think at corner now, he just looks at it as, and I agree with this, it's an easier task, period. That's how tough nickel is to play. It's an easier task. And I think that's why he looks so good there, guys. They may want to keep him there. At least he can play nickel, though. But he looks way more comfortable at corner than he ever looked at nickel, in my opinion. Yeah. All right. C. Gaddis says, is Taft the most effective blitzer from the secondary?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Part of that is PK doesn't blitz a ton, and when he does blitz, it's usually the corner from the boundary or sometimes the star. They don't blitz the safety a ton. But I'll tell you, I don't whether blitzing or not is the answer. And I don't know if it's the number change too, but Jelani McDonald looks a little bit different this camp.
He does.
Than I've seen him before. Like there's a twitch that I haven't seen with him before. And maybe I think this speaks to Gilbo too. Just from the standpoint, Rod, that he saw what Jade did last year and how much Jade elevated his stock pretty much from having like late round draft stock to go into the first round. I'm not saying Gilbo's a first rounder, but I think that confidence that he's got in himself to make that move from star to corner, I think that could be why he looks more comfortable. And I think for Jelani McDonald, it's all about, hey, if you have a big year this year, you can go get paid in the spring. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what, but Jelani McDonald does look a little different.
That's a good question of the blitzer from the secondary, and I agree with you about Jelani McDonald. That is because Taft has great anticipation on some of those blitzes, but Janae Barron was so good at it. Janae had a really good anticipation on those blitzes. I had to think about that. C. Gaddis, give me some time to think about it. Tegan here says, any concerns after today's practice or questions that you would like to see field? I mean, it's still so early. I mean, they're not even in full pads yet, so their linemen aren't hidden yet. I mean, there's only so much you can learn, right, Coach, from shells in 2 days in that sample size, right?
Yeah. How about CJ Baxter?
I like the way he's looking. I wouldn't rush it. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rush it with CJ Baxter. I think that would be a mistake to rush it. My personal opinion.
My question, and it's not going to be answered until next week and beyond, but when the pads come on and everything's live, of the three quarterbacks behind Arch, does one of them start to separate? And you get a real clear picture on who. Look, man, if QB2, if KJ Lacey ends up separating, I'm not predicting that, but if he ends up separating, he ends up separating. But I like the fact that you got some legit competition behind Arch right now. But I want to see if one of those backup guys can separate.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Tegan. Appreciate that. Silver Spurs Sicko says, who looks like they would be our goal line back if we were to play tomorrow? That's a good. I mean, if CJ Baxter's healthy with the size of that dude, when he's healthy, Coach, when he ran by me, I guess I forgot how big he was. I'd interviewed him on Third Longhorns. I remember he's bigger. He's bigger than he was then because that was his freshman year. He is bigger now. And that dude is, he's a load. So to me, it would be him. But he's, like I said, I wouldn't rush him. If we had to go today, it's got to be Gibson, maybe Rhino.
That's my vote.
Honestly, I trust Wisner more than I trust Gibson.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Was that about ball security?
Yeah.
There's no way, Coach. Like this, if that was his number one, I would say, liability last season. How hard do you think the young man worked on just ball security?
Yeah.
And how do you do that in the offseason? How do you work on ball security in the offseason? You just make sure you got stronger hands? What are you doing? What do you recommend for a young guy to work on ball security in the offseason when you ain't got no pads and you can't hit? What do you do?
You just, that's a really good question. And I don't know that there's a foolproof answer other than it's got to become something that you're conscious of every time you have the ball until you get your confidence back. It always has to be in the back of your mind when you're carrying the ball, whether it's a drill, whether it's, in a scrimmage, whatever that situation is, you're always thinking ball security and you have to get your confidence back, and it's something that it depends on a guy's makeup as to whether he's going to be able to, get over that psychological scar of fumbling because, I'm sure the coaches don't have a lot of nice things to say either on the sidelines or in film session, when you're putting a ball on the ground. That's, you work, everybody's working 110% to get down the field, and then you put the ball on the ground. That's a liability that you may have a hard time overcoming. And so there's certainly physical things you can work on, but I think, and I know he's probably done everything he could possibly do, but you have to get over it mentally. You have to always keep where it just becomes a part of who you are as a football player. Protecting the football is your number one priority as a ball carrier, without a doubt. That goes without saying.
Yeah, I mean, because they liked him how he played in that Michigan game. In early on in the Michigan game, in critical moments, they liked him, and he kind of lost the trust of the coaches, and it was definitely the ball security issues for him. Let's thank another sponsor before we move on and answer some more questions. Let's thank our friends over at Flat Creek Estate Winery. Really appreciate them. And folks, you've heard me bragging about Flat Creek Estate Winery, bragging about the Super Texan and how great it is. Well, Super Texan was recently entered into the San Francisco Wine Festival. It scored a 98 out of 100. Yeah, just casually. It was named the top red blend in the country. So congrats to our friends over at Flat Creek Estate Winery, not only producing the best red blend in the great state of Texas, but also now the best red blend in the state. And not only do they produce some of the best premium wines, and by the way, you can find that Super Texan at your local Specs, at your local HEB as well. But they also have a gorgeous venue with barbecues, wine tastings every single weekend. It's perfect for a day date with your significant other or a weekend getaway with your significant other. That's Flat Creek Estate Winery, flatcreekestate.com. Thank you very much to our friends over at Flat Creek Estate Winery for their ongoing support and sponsorship of the Winning Drive. All right, getting back to the questions here, guys. Keep them coming. Thank you for the questions. We appreciate it. How about this one from Steve? Says, who are our day one starting safeties? Taft is obviously there, and Jelani McDonald looks like it's to me right now until Derek Williams gets healthy or completely 100% healthy, I should say. He still looks pretty good.
And I'll say, Bobby, Jerry, and I did a video on the channel talking about the running backs. I said the same thing about Derek Williams that Bobby said about C.J. Baxter. You can tell he's getting healthy, but there's still like that little hitch in his step where he's not all the way back yet. So as of right now, yeah, I think and I think that's why you're trying to find versatility at the nickel, because I think in a perfect world, your starting safeties would be Taft and Derek Williams, and probably having Jelani McDonald in that nickel, even though he's a big nickel, but you probably want him in that star position with Gilbo at corner. Now with Derek Williams' uncertainty, you're probably going to have Jelani McDonald at safety earlier. I think that's why, whether it's Littleton or Mack or whatever you're trying to do to manufacture depth at star. Yeah, I think Derek Williams' health has a lot more to do with that than anything.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, because you got three starters when he's healthy.
Yeah,
at safety, there's no doubt. All right, let's talk about the O-line. Before we get into this question, though, I want to ask you something, Coach, because I saw this is from Sark. I don't know if you were at the media availability that Sark had yesterday.
I was not.
You was not. But I did see this quote, and Sark said that he wanted the offensive lineman, or at least I think to talk about the tackle specifically, to be a little bit more nasty. Want them to have a little bit more of a kind of nasty disposition. And he said, things can get feisty out there, Coach, when they're dealing with Ethan Burks and Colin Simmons of the world. Hey, it can get a little feisty out there between the two. But I think Sark wants to see that. And he kind of admitted that I want to see what it brings out in my old linemen. I'm going to see how they play when they're a little upset. Maybe somebody's talking some trash to them. Maybe somebody's, giving them the business, whatever it may be. And Texas has, obviously one of the best, if not the best edge room in the country. When you were playing, when you were coaching, probably when you were playing too, but when you were coaching, did you have like situations where you wanted players to bring out certain things in other players, where you wanted them to potentially, obviously aggravate another player, maybe antagonize them a little bit, knowing that, hey, I need to see what this other player, plays like when they are upset or when they're angry or when somebody's trying to get in their head? Did you ever, as a coach, intentionally want to see that?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think I may have told the story before. One of the best lineman I ever coached was a kid named John Layfield, who was a first-team All-American at Abilene Christian. Wound up getting in a fight training camp with the Raiders, and they cut him because Howie Long was a guy. I told him, I said, you got to get their attention. You have to get the coach's attention. You got to get the locker. I mean, because you're just another guy. So he picks a fight with Howie Long. And anyway, John Layfield went on to become a WWE, WWF star. Bradshaw, he was one of the acolytes. He was a heel, But anyway, starting every game, he would spit up a loogie on the starting defensive end's hand every game. And I said, "You idiot! Why do you do that?" He said, "Coach, if I'm on, this guy, he may have shown up not wanting to play today, but he wants to play now, But I like spice in my linemen. I don't like those passive guys. I like a guy. You give me a lineman with Casey Studdard attitude,
Yeah.
and I'll go to battle with those cats. I say put those guys in a room with Casey Studdard and let him put in their mind what an offensive lineman needs to be thinking, and your personality needs to be on the field. You know, I like those guys that have a defensive mentality that are, you know, they'll curb stomp you if they get a chance. You know, one of those guys. But yeah, absolutely. You try to bring that out in guys, but some guys, there he is right there.
Wow, look at the hair. Yeah, that's the hair of a professional wrestler back then.
yeah. But anyway, he wound up bringing out the best in people that he played against. But what I want is guys who are going to bring out the best in each other. But sometimes guys just don't have it. They're just too passive. You know, they may have all the finesse and all that stuff, but I like those guys that got a little crap in their neck. You know what I mean? That, you know, that'll protect the quarterback. And if a guy hits a quarterback late, next play is coming out. You know, they're going to target a guy and take him out if they can. I don't mean, you know, unfairly or in a bad way, but you know, those guys, they're protectors. They're the gatekeepers. You know, they're the guys that have to have that mentality in my mind. So I like to hear him say that. I love that mentality in a lineman.
I think for tackles too, because your tackles now at this level are such great athletes that I think sometimes the nastiness has to come a little bit later. I mean, it's in there for all those guys. I think it has to come out later. In a perfect world, you love to get a Kelvin Banks. It's like a 5-star prospect, a walk-in starter, 3 and done in the NFL. And, you know, Coach, I know he was on the field against Alabama, like we saw the performance, but that first drive he had in the OU game his freshman year, where he's driving the guy and, you know, puts him 5 yards off the ball to the echo of the whistle. I remember that. At the OU end of the Cotton Bowl, and I'm like, he gets it. Like, he knows what this is about right now. He doesn't have to learn it. In a perfect world, you like your guys to be like that. But, again, I think the Kelvin Bankses of the world don't come along every year.
It's crazy how often Longhorn fans bring up Casey Studdard's disposition and his mentality when talking about the perfect mentality for an O-lineman. And it is, if you just know Casey, because Casey basically looked at it like a fight. He said, I gotta be willing to fight for 60 minutes because that's all O-linemen and D-linemen are doing. We're just fighting for 60 minutes. He said it's in spurts and 4 to 5 seconds, but it's just a fight. He said, and somebody's going to relent, right? Somebody's going to give up. He said, and I got to be the one to win the fight. And he said that drives his mentality about always trying to be a bully in the trenches. So I'm with you on that, Coach. Everybody, if you can get a bunch of Casey Studdards on your O-line, you're doing pretty damn good. But Blaze here says, how does the O-line this year compare to last year? Better run blocking, maybe?
Too early to tell. I think the run blocking upside with this group is there, but you know, we'll see on August 30th. It'll be a heck of a test.
All right, thank you, Blaze. Football Junkie with a super chat. Thank you, Football Junkie. He says, Rod and Jeff, how big is Hill, Simmons, and Spence? They all have different heights, weight online. I'm interested in knowing their real measurements. Spence is just built. He's just stocky. Like, he's built. Yeah. He's not like he's not long. He doesn't have like a lot of his. I don't think I gotta look at his wingspan and see. But to me, he's just built stocky. That's why when people have been curious, Coach, as to why they moved Brad Spence full time to edge, and why Trey Moore is now playing off-ball linebacker and maybe being cross-trained. And I said maybe they also want, versatility in the type of pass rushers they have. I was talking to Alex Oakfor about this, and Oak said, I'm a power rusher. He said, but, guy like Jackson Jeffcoat is a speed rusher. He said power rushers build their pass rushing moves off of that strength. So all of my moves are built off power, and I have to acquire speed and learn how to use speed. They say, but speed rushers, they build all their moves off of speed. And I'm looking at Brad Spence, and he's definitely a power rusher. He's not a speed rusher. Colin Simmons, speed rusher. And I will say that gives him a little bit of versatility in the types, the styles of rusher. Because I think, Colton Vasek is more of a power rusher, probably. And probably so is more an Ethan Burke. So I just think it's styles there. But in terms of just their body types, Brad Spence is stocky and kind of built like very compact is the right word for it.
Looks like Simmons has put on some weight.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's still it spreads out differently over his body because he's got long wingspan and long arms, in my opinion. Same thing with Hill.
Yeah.
Right. And Hill still looks, I agree with CJ on this. Hill doesn't even look like at times like he's still like he's got his grown man body yet.
No.
But he's definitely put on some weight.
But I do like on Colin Simmons, and this is why I like going to college practices. And the guys that go on to be NFL players for a long time typically have this mentality. Like when you're doing individual or circuits or whatever, if you're the guy that's sitting there like kicking the ball around, jacking around, like messing up the tempo of the drill, that guy's on you. Like, hey, pick it up. Like Colin Simmons developed that leadership aspect of, hey, this is like we got a way we do things around here. There's a tempo to this. Like, stop messing the drill up. Like, get it together. So I dig that about him, that he's not just hanging back, resting on his laurels. Like, he's being very, very proactive about everything he's doing right now.
I mean, he should be, because the sky's the limit for that young man. Thank you, Football Junkie, for that. A couple more questions before we get done here. How about this one? CB says, did you see Baxter's Lamborghini? I did not see Baxter's Lamborghini. The guy's not they got the buses that drive him up, so I did not see. I asked Huff if he drove one of his Lambos or something up here, and then he did not confirm. So I don't know. So no Lambos were in sight, CB. I'll just say that I didn't see any. How about this one from C. Gaddis? Says, enjoyed Rod B's DB video yesterday and the concept of his best 5 DBs getting on the field. Given what we know, who are your top 5 DBs and what does it look like with them on the field at the same time? Yeah, right now, that's a great question. Right now, your best 5 is definitely Taft, it's Jelani McDonald, obviously Malik Muhammad's in there, and Jalen Gilbo. That other 5th one right now is between Kobe Black, to me. And I said Derek Williams is there, but he's, like I said, he's still a few weeks away, in my opinion. Right? Maybe a month away from my oh no, I think he's ready to go. I don't see the hitch in the giddy up at all.
I'll tell you who I like too. I like Warren Roberson.
He looks good, man.
Yeah.
He looks good. He does. He looks technically sound and proficient. And he's confident. You can tell that now he's a seasoned vet. So he knows what he's doing. He plays fast. I like what I saw from Warren Roberson. I wouldn't put him in my top 5. Because I think, to me, it's a Derek Williams in that top 5. But you're right. Him and Kobe Black, it's not like Kobe Black looks better than Warren Roberson to me right now.
I mean, if that's just where you're at with the secondary right now. If guys like Warren Roberson, Jordan Johnson, Rebel, Xavier Filsaime, they're your 2s. You're probably in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, right now, I can't. Grayson Littleton, I just haven't seen a lot of him. But obviously the coaches trust him. So he's in the conversation too to be you're at a dime package right now, like there was 6 DBs. That young man is in your conversation to be in your dime package as a true freshman right now. So the top 5, I would include Derek Williams in my top 5, I think, overall. But then, Kobe Black is probably going to round it out with this group. Thanks, C. Gaddis. I appreciate that. How about this one from Cameron? Does Texas go back-to-back if they didn't lose their number 1 back? Why don't we have more bigger back depth? Can Michael Terry III fill that role if needed?
Right? No, he's
not built like that.
I said it. No, he's not built like that. Number one, and I think I mentioned this earlier. First and foremost, I mean, he's going to be given every opportunity to win a job at receiver. So I think before we get and look, I've got grandiose ideas about what Michael Terry can do, but right now they want him to learn. They want him to learn the receiver position conceptually, not just inside receiver, outside receiver. They want him to learn how to be a receiver. So no, 2 years ago, I really do think if Jonathan Brooks doesn't get hurt, I think Texas beats Michigan. I mean, I just think by the end of the year, they were playing like the best team in the country. So I think last year, I think their coach. I don't know if you agree with this, but I think their red zone issues. It was a lot more than just who was at running back. There were just nothing ever really clicked the way it needed to for a variety of reasons in the red zone.
Yeah, I agree, but they just never could get in sync. But I do think, not having CJ in that backfield obviously hurt the red zone because he's a force to be dealt with in the red zone. Well, anytime he's on the field, but it's just unfortunate that we've hit those string of injuries with those guys.
I like that hot take though, Jeff. Like that hot take.
I'm willing to die on that hill.
It's a good take.
Sure.
It's a good solid take. All right, let's take our last sponsor, and then we'll answer a couple more questions before we end today's show. Let's thank our friends at South Point Dodge really quickly. Hey, Texas football fans, you can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends over at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. Get the real deal today and drive away in the all-new Ram 1500, proven to last. Plus, right now, you get employee incentive pricing. That means you pay what the employees pay at South Point Dodge. You won't get a better deal than that. That's the employee discount. Well, their fancy way of saying you get the employee discount. Go see them today off of I-35 in South Austin, or you can go online at southpointdodge.com and check out their inventory there as well. Get to the point at South Point Dodge. Whether you need a car, truck, something new, something used, a trade-in, remember, South Point Dodge is Austin's automotive everything. southpointdodge.com. All right, couple more questions. Got some super chats here from Silver Spurs Sicko with another one. Thank you. He says, like Coach Brown said, if you have it, you gonna make it. If you don't have it, you ain't gonna make it. And if you don't know what it is, you ain't got a chance to make it. Well done. That was a great DKR quote, I believe, about the it quality. If you have it, all right, you'll make it. Thank you very much, Silver Spurs Sicko. I love that. It's one of my favorite stories from Mac Brown. He always tells. Sugar Cane, not the crop, says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. He says, Rod, Q Jammer on X said he had 20 pounds on you and could run stride for stride with you. Of course, I defended your honor, but who really wins that race? Oh, that's a good one. Jam could run, dude. Jam could run. Now I ain't gonna say that I was faster than Jam. I don't remember the 40s, but Jam could run. Jam was a top, guys, Jam was like a top 5, top 10 pick, was he not?
There was, if you go back to that draft,
I think Jam was like a top 10 pick.
I'll make it short. I watched the Cowboys produced an in-house deal. It was about when they drafted Evil Roy Williams, and Jam was in that draft.
Oh, that's right.
There was talk, it was pretty clear that David Carr was going to go 1 and Julius Peppers was 2. There was discussion whether Jam was going to be 3 or not. Yeah. He was right. He would have been your future teammate in Detroit, but the Lions went with Joey Harrington.
Seriously. Yeah, but no, Jam could run. I can't hate on Jam, no doubt. Jam probably could run. Jam could run stride for stride with you, boy. That is true. One thing I had on Jam, you can let Jam know this too. I had better hips than Jam. All right, Jam has safety hips. He know it. Go ask him. He had them safety hips. He had them stiff hips out there. But when he runs straight ahead, hey, he could run like a 4.3, something like that. And he had long arms. I'm talking about 36-inch python like Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace. But he had really long arms. So when he gets his arms on you, when he gets hands on you, and man, he was just gonna jam the hell out of you. And he literally had the best name for a DB that played bump and run. His name was Jammer. Jam was a physical freak of nature. The one thing I think I had on Jam, I'll say straight up, I think I had better hips than Jam, sweeter hips than Jam. But everything else, he's a top 10 pick. So
if we go to the official record, which is Combine 40s, right? I remember this. You ran a 4.42. Quentin Jammer ran a 4.49.
Okay. Hey, Jam, take that. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, my man Jeff right here. Boom. I like that. That's what I'm talking about. See, now I'm gonna send that to Jam. That's all right. I'm gonna send that to him via Twitter. Reggie Boy 37 says, just wanted to say it was an honor to meet you today, Rod. Thank you guys for keeping us informed with everything Texas. Hey, Reggie, it was awesome to meet you, brother. And thank you for coming to hang out, and shout out to some Texas City boys out there, man. The Texas City boys from down there in Galveston. All right, let's thank our man Matt for all of the hard work he does. Thank you very much, Matt. We appreciate you sticking around. Coach, thanks for the patience as well. We know we had to delay things because of the practice window. We appreciate you and all your knowledge as well. And thank you guys for all the super chats and the questions. Sorry I couldn't get to all of them. We gotta have a truncated edition of our live stream because we went a little bit long with the practice window, but glad you guys can stick around. If we missed any of your questions, please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football bright and early tomorrow morning. That'll be Bobby and Jerry at 8:15. And we'll have our 1 p.m. live stream tomorrow on Friday. I think it'll be me and Jeff. I don't know who's on there. Somebody will be on there. I'll be on there. Maybe Jerry will be on there. I'm not sure, but the team will be well represented. So that'll be at 1:15. If we missed any of your questions, direct them to the live streams tomorrow. So for Jeff and for Coach and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em.